Hey, how's it going? It's Spencer from My Tennessee Home Solution. Just a quick one today. Answering a simple question. We're going to do a couple of tips as an answer, and then we'll go through some frequently asked questions from this past week. So first one, right? What paperwork is needed to sell a house without an agent, right? So you don't always need to use a realtor, right? Realtors do serve a very good function when selling a property on the market, but you can always sell a house without an agent and save a good bit of money, right? Agents, especially in Middle Tennessee, charge about 3% on each side. So it's a 3% to the buyer's agent and 3% to a seller's agent. And as a seller, right, traditionally you're the one who's paying both of those. And on top of closing costs, listing costs, and some of those other sorted costs, you do kind of rack up a good bit of money. So a lot of people recently have been looking to sell their properties without agents. So we'll kind of talk through a couple tips that we have for executing that process. All right, so where do you start? So first, right, first tip, find that paperwork. So find your deed, find your title, find any mortgage information, any lien information, all that kind of stuff. Anything and everything that you have, get that organized, right? Easiest thing to do, right? Anytime you have an issue is if you're organized, it'll be a lot easier to kind of get through it. Which takes us to our second one, right, is to find and evaluate those payoffs. So reach out to your mortgage company. Be like, hey, we've lived in this house about 15 years. Just want to see what my payoff amount would be. I'm looking to sell the property. They'll let you know exactly how many dollars you owe them, right? Whatever's left. And you'll have that set. Same thing if there's any liens, if you have a home equity line of credit or a HELOC or any kind of stuff like that associated with the title of your property, you want to make sure you get those payoff amounts. The third one is state by state, right? You want to make sure that you're looking at those mandatory disclosures, things that you have to tell the buyer of your house if you're selling to them. And that's state by state. It's an easy one. If you go to the Tennessee housing website, they'll put some stuff up there for Tennessee, and I believe Kentucky's is the same way. Contingencies, right? So once you've found a buyer, you want to make sure that you guys discuss any contingencies. If the buyer says, I will only buy the house if this, then you want to make sure that those conditions are set before you guys actually approach the closing table. Same way, if you're like, hey, I will only sell you this house if I get a rent back for 1 month, or if, hey, buyer doesn't take possession for 2 weeks after the sale, or I get $10,000 up front in addition to the escrow, etc. Right? You want to make sure those contingencies are understood from both sides and executed before you go to closing. The last one's the easy one, right? Take a breath. Take 5 minutes. It's not that hard, right? It's not crazy. It's not overwhelming. And if you find yourself overwhelmed, getting a little confused, give us a call, right? We work hand in hand with some fantastic title companies here in Tennessee. If we don't have the answer to your question, we can give them a call and we can get an answer for you. No problem. It's super easy. We love doing it. So we'll kind of do a couple associated questions that I've gotten a lot this past week. So first one, should I sell my house without a real estate agent? That's your choice, right? I can't say what's the best fit for you. I can definitely give advice based on what I've seen in the market, what I've seen in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Murfreesboro, Clarksville, kind of all over, right? There's situations where it makes sense to use a realtor, and there's situations where it doesn't make sense. And you just kind of got to go through those steps, right, of selling, right? Get organized, look at your payoffs, look what you're looking for. Stuff I mentioned in a previous video, right? You want to make sure you're being reasonable, honest, and flexible, right? And once you kind of got that shaken out, I think the answer will present itself. Especially if you and I are talking, we'll be able to figure out what the best route for you is. Should I sell to a buyer that does not have an agent? Hey, same thing, right? Like, just because sellers are looking to sell without using a real estate agent, there's buyers out there who are as well. You just want to make sure that if neither of you are using an agent, that you're being very diligent for your process. And I would say reach out to a title company and get a little oversight on the process, or reach out to us and we'll get you guys all taken care of. How much can I save by selling my own home? Like we kind of talked about a little bit in the early part of this video, at minimum rates, 3% to a realtor, 3% to your buyer's realtor. Closing costs anywhere from like 4 to 6% right now. And then you got listing costs, any repairs, all that kind of stuff. If you're selling as is without an agent, you can minimize the majority of those costs. And right, if you think about it, those costs come right out of your bottom line. Those directly affect your out of pocket and what you take home. What kind of paperwork is needed when I'm accepting an offer on my for sale by owner home, right? Some of the stuff we've already talked about, deeds, titles, 1099s, you're looking at 1099 for the sale, closing disclosures, all that kind of stuff. It's a decent amount of paperwork, but that is, of course, one of the reasons why realtors and title companies charge money, because it is a good bit of paperwork. Now, by no means is it impossible to do by yourself. We buy and sell houses 8 to 15 a month with our realtors. So we're definitely experts on it. So if you want, feel free just to reach out to us and we can either give you some advice, talk through. Maybe we're going to be the ones who want to buy your house. I mean, there's just a significant chance we will. And at minimum, hey, we can make cash offer and make it an easy, stress-free process. Let us worry about the paperwork. Let us worry about the stress. We'll get all that done for you, and we'll get you taken care of. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, once again, Spencer from My Tennessee Home Solutions, reach out. All right. I'm looking forward to talking. Have a great one.